Sabino Osorio Matias Ley went very well yesterday in qualifying. We were impressed by that car, and it was breaking up the battle between the minis, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And seems to have done the same at the start of this race. However, let's not forget, we have a race leader. It's easy to forget because the advantage already, and we haven't completed one lap yet, the advantage for Chelio Alves Diaz is so impressive. Turns out of Moorish up towards Donna Maria. Only just coming into shot is the second place number 96 car. And through Donna Maria goes the race leader. But yep, all that experience, all that weaving of the car from side to side to get as much temperature into the tyres, well, that seems to have paid off already.
Very, very late on the brakes and wide into the approach to the hairpin goes Chelio Alves Diaz. Not a massive problem, but he had a rather later arrival into the braking zone than I anticipated. Ran 1/4, but under real attack now from Rui Valente trying to recover. Now, it's funny, isn't it? Silent camera shots make the gap look bigger, but at the end of the lap, it does look as though Chen Kin-sang is a lot closer to the race leader. Does Chelio Alves Diaz have a problem? He's not storming ahead now, and if anything, the gap's coming down between the two leading minis.
Well, the gap was very, very distant indeed. And then after that rather strange manoeuvre through the Melco hairpin that you described, the gap seems to have come down quite a lot. And as they come down, complete one lap, it is an advantage of under a second. It was much more than a second, wasn't it, when we saw them up in the mountain section? Yeah. It's down to 0.7 about of a second. The Ford there at the back of your picture.
But now look, here the gap stretches, absolutely unquestionably. Chelio Alves Diaz, look, it's just disappeared. I mean, in the space of two corners, that is all about horsepower. And that suggests that actually Kin-sang may have a problem, because up the inside now goes Sabino Osorio Matias Ley. So you've got Chelio Alves Diaz once more storming off like he did on the opening lap, but you should have a Ford Fiesta for second place as they come out of Lisboa. There it is. So suddenly the second, oh, big drama there. Car in the wall, wheel off that's hit by one of the Peugeots. But big drama, and it looks as though out of the race is the car of Chen Chi-ho's Peugeot RCZ. He's trying to drag the remains out of the way, but that's been a big hit, big headbutt into the wall.
Yes, I'm afraid so, and a very disappointing collection of that tyre that you see in the middle of your picture. The 88 car as well, so not good news on this lap. That's Tins Bieng in the Chang'an Auto car,
which was 7th, and the safety car's being deployed. Now here's the replay. Self-induced, big lose coming out of Mandarin. Around goes the Peugeot, rips off the wheel and keeps on spinning, and then the wheel is hit by one of the other RCZs, ironically.
Yeah, it bounces off the wall and comes back onto the circuit, doesn't it? There's nowhere to go, and yeah, let's hope that that Peugeot is not too damaged, because that would have been quite a hefty hit, wouldn't it? A moving wheel, and still an upright wheel, so under the control now of the safety car. So now we understand what's happening here at the front. There are parts of the circuit that the number 11 car is not as quick, and there are parts of the circuit that the number 11 car is incredibly quick.
Yeah, I mean, that looks like a car that is ideally suited, and a driver that's ideally suited to the fast bits and doesn't like the twisty slow bits. 88 was in 7th place until its problems there. So Sin Bien's Chang'an Auto being lifted out of the way. That's gone up the escape road at Lisboa and cradled out of harm's way. Has it got damage at the front? Looks like it might have, but that's the real reason for this safety car period, to get a crippled car out of the way and to allow the marshals the opportunity to move debris and retrieve the wheel. And the good news is that despite the damage, despite the impact, Chen Chi-ho is okay, gets out of the car as the leading quartet bunches up. You know who this helps after his Pox first lap? Rui Valente. He's just been given a second bite at a cherry.
It's not a sight you see that often, is it, with a race car high in the air, being craned over to a place of safety, and so incredibly quick the recoveries that they can achieve with the course marshals and the cranes dotted around the circuit at strategic points. It's very quick. I think that we'll be able to get back racing.
Especially with the length of the lap, you know, 6 kilometres and a flying lap, 2:47 from a standing start. So, yeah, maybe by the end of this we can go racing again. But there's the race leader then. Chelio Alves Diaz is ahead of Sabino Osorio Matias Ley. It's Chen Kin-sang in 3rd. I'm still slightly intrigued as to what was going on with that third place Mini, because having been right on the back of the leader,
Yes.
it lost so much time and lost a place.
It did, yeah.
But clearly, it's still in the race. So whatever the drama was, it's not enough to herald its arrival in the pits. But I'm still intrigued to know where the time went, whether the car's got an issue, for example, like it's missing a gear, which means that it can continue, but it can't operate at the maximum pace, for example.
And that the car of Chan Kin Sang that we're talking about, the Mini in third place at the moment. The Ford sandwich between the Mini of the race leader as the BMW heads over to the left-hand side of the circuit to allow the course workers to effectively collect that rather stricken car.
22 suddenly lurched out of the traffic there, which was Lam Kim San's Fiesta ST, and almost aimed for the marshal, and then eventually got the message and tucked back into the pack. But there he is again, look, going right out of the queue. Look, completely to the extremes. Look, way out, back, way out the other side. There's weaving, and there is driving all over the road.
That's weaving with a capital W, isn't it?
Yeah.
And making use of the entire width of the circuit. Extreme weaving.
As recommended by the Women's Institute. Yes. So, Chelio Alves Diaz makes the climb up the hill. Behave yourself, Hyde. With Sabino Osorio Matias Ley running in second spot. And fingers crossed we can go back racing pretty soon. Of course, when the lights go out on top of the safety car, that's the indication to everybody that we're set to go. And these laps all count within the 8. And in fact, bear in mind there is a time limit of 20 minutes to make sure that the timetable stays on track. It could be actually, Alan, that we end up looking at the clock more than the lap chart.
I think we probably will be. And with that car now being carefully lowered down onto the back of the flatbed recovery vehicle, so well done to all the course marshals, and look how many there are. That's how we can get these jobs done nice and quickly to get racing back underway, because so many marshals are in attendance at the various points around the circuit. All of a sudden, when you need debris swept up, you've got 10 marshals with brooms. They go out and they make light work of it. So always impressive as the rest of the field thread their way around. This the second race of the day, second race of the Macau Grand Prix weekend here at Macau for the Melco Macau Touring Car Cup. Chelio Alves Diaz is the leader behind the BMW. Second place, Sabino Osorio Matias Ley in car number 5. And in third place, Chan Kin Sang in the Mini number 96.
Now, looking at the clock, we've had 9 minutes and 20 seconds. So I don't think we're going to go laps. I think we're going to go time here. So it's a frustration for the competitors, but it's essential to keep the timetable on track. So these races, times or laps. And as I say, we've had almost half of the clock now as we're on the third lap of the race.
And bear in mind also, we've not had a full racing lap, have we? Just seen the fastest lap of the race, which is an unrepresentative fastest lap of the race.
Right, so the car is on the back of the flatbed. That's about to leave the circuit. There's a bit of sweeping up to be done, and as soon as everybody is back on post, can all this be done before the leaders get towards, say, Fisherman's, which would just about give enough time to extinguish the lights and come in? It's going to be touch and go. No, they're not. They're going to have to do another. Oh, no, lights are out.
Lights are out.
Yeah, no, we are going to be good to go. Excellent stuff. So, Chelio Alves Diaz leads, weaves, and then behind him, Sabino Osorio Matias Ley, and then in third, trying to fight back, Chan Kin Sang with the green and grey Mini, another very smart colour scheme. Ryan Wong's start, I mentioned he was 9th on the grid and got up to 5th. I was wondering whether it was even too good a start, but nothing has come to suggest that it wasn't a legal start. It was a really good getaway, dived up the inside and got through the traffic. So we're about to go racing then. This will be the end of lap 3, and we are into the second half of the race, looking at the time.
Certainly are, and looking at the white Mini, which immediately springs into action when the BMW pulls into pit lane. And goodness, how Chelio Alves Diaz did spring into action.
drama in the background, Ryan Wong has got a problem. His car did not get away. So he was fifth coming into the corner. He's not fifth coming through it. So Ryan Wong has got a big, big issue. Look, there's the leading quartet, then a gap, and there's no Ryan Wong. So the Chevrolet Cruze that was in fifth place, suddenly something has gone wrong, like it's gone into limp home mode almost. It did not pick up on the restart of the race, and he's headed into the pit lane.
Oh dear. So drama at the start of the race, and an exceptional start of the race for number 11, the race leader, already with a good gap over the second place number 5 Ford as they head into Lisboa. A challenge on the run down towards Lisboa. The number 30, is that number 38 car, making a place up on the run into Lisboa up towards San Francisco. That battle continues. The race leader got an exceptional start already with a huge gap.
I think the man on a mission actually was Kevin Lamb in number 35, the Sonic Racing Team Chevrolet Cruze up on the inside, that green car that we were looking at, so it was a bold effort. Chelio Alves Diaz then building the gap once more. Second, Sabino Osorio Matias Ley in turn, fending off the challenge of Chen Kin Sang now, but Chelio Alves Diaz is on a mission, isn't he? It's almost like he's got a table booked for lunch. He's in a big hurry to get there because he's storming clear of the opposition here, Alan.
And we are fast approaching lunchtime, 10:37 local time here in Macau for race 2 on the timetable today. Racing all the way. We've got warm-ups and racing this afternoon. And now for the rest of this morning, racing right the way through until midday. Number 11, Chelio Alves Diaz, it is that leads, had pole position, got an exceptional restart, and at the moment is unchallenged. He can pick his points, his turn-in points, have the ultimate line, and also he does a very good job of getting the tyres up to temperature on formation laps and the lap behind the safety car, the final lap behind the safety car when the safety car was deployed during lap 1. So this your race leader, it's a Mini and it's number 11.
And it's dominant, and it's Chelio Alves Diaz, the driver, with in second place the Fiesta, the best of the rest very much, Sabino Osorio Matias Ley, but although Chelio Alves Diaz in terms of qualifying pace may have had a bit of opposition, he has absolutely blitzed them. And he's great on cold tyres, both at the original and the restarts, to build that gap. Chen Kin Sang's Mini in third place, falling away as well as the leader comes through them. So heading up towards the timing line, this puts 4 laps in the book of 8, which is the expectation. Fastest lap just done by Chelio Alves Diaz, 2:42.182, but we have only now got 6 minutes remaining on the clock by my reckoning.
And that's the first of the meaningful full racing laps that we've had. So a 2:42.182 is the benchmark time, and it's the first time we've had the opportunity to see that. Unfortunately, although going very, very well, Sabino Osorio Matias Ley can just see the back of the white Mini in the distance.
What has happened to Rui Valente? He's come into the pit lane. So a car that we were a bit concerned about earlier has had problems manifest itself. And so Rui Valente from third on the grid, Alan, down the pit road.
Good spot and very unfortunate as well. Gave us some of the drama at the start of the race, did Rui Valente. And we'll yet to find out what the problem is, which has caused the number 20 car to come into pit lane. Getting a good view of a lap now for the Ford Fiesta, the number 5 car of Sabino Osorio Matias Ley in second place. Rui Valente, oh so sad, down in pit lane.
Bonnet up, so it's mechanical. The good news, if you like, is that it's mechanical rather than being in the wall. But as the netting is about to come down, Rui Valente's day is done, but they'll work on that car to get it ready for tomorrow. But of course the downside is he's out of this race. It means he's going to be at the back of the grid for race 2.
A 12-lap race on Sunday here for the second race of the weekend. This is race 1. All of the races today over the course of 8 laps around Macau. And pretty much solitary for the race leader, pretty much solitary for this second place car as well, turning into police for the Ford Fiesta of Sabino Osorio Matias Ley. The advantage to that is you can pick the ultimate line around the course here at Macau. And make no mistake, there are plenty of lines on some parts of the circuit.
The Ford looking good. And although it's 5.5 seconds back from the leader, it's a further 5 seconds up the road plus now from anybody else. Now, Chen Kin Sang in third place. I'm still under the impression has got a problem. In fact, has he gone missing? Let's see, because they come into view.
Yeah.
Looks as though he has gone
I
AWOL,
think so, yeah.
and Liu Manfai is up into third place. So Chen Qinsang's Mini, again, had a question mark over it earlier, has got problems again.
Yeah, I think you're right. That's disappointing. A few cars, a few front runners dropping out of this first time of asking in racing conditions for the Melco Macau Touring Car Cup. Let's remember, it's a very, very full grid, this, for the 1600 tin tops that we've got racing here at Macau this weekend. And we've enjoyed a couple of laps now driving the circuit here at Macau with the second place car, the number 5 car of Sabino Osorio Matthias Ley. Don't forget that the number 11 car, the Mini, Chelio Alves Dias, still at the front of the field. And now you can see the new third place car, the blue and white Mini of Liu Manfai, heads around the circuit. He's got pretty clear track behind. He's got pretty clear track in front, and it's surprising that the top 3 have all got this distance between them. They've all spread quite far out, haven't they?
They have. Now, Chen Qinsang is still going, but down in 9th place in the car that was second on the grid and we had high hopes for. So he's trying to salvage a result out of this to give him a half-decent grid position for tomorrow, but clearly with a problem. So they're third, as Alan rightly says. Liu Manfai's Mini in 4th place now. Up into 4th place is 77, Wan Chin Sun's Chang'an Auto. 5th is where you find the best of the Peugeots now, 72 of Lam Hong Fai. And that is exceptional because Lam Hong Fai started 28th on the grid.
Oh, wow, that is impressive. Are we double checking? Yes, you're right. Incredibly impressive in the number 72 car.
Because that's the car that's given her all sorts of grief over the weekend, stopped on track in both of the earlier sessions, but has absolutely charged through the field.
Yeah, which is good news because, yeah, the luck wasn't quite right for that car yesterday, was it? So very, very impressive. That up into 5th place for the number 72 car, the Peugeot RCZ. Very pretty car, that, and works very well. So it was disappointing to see it enduring such problems, and the livery on the car. I was a big fan yesterday, still a big fan today, and the 77 car that we're looking at now is the car in 4th place. 77 is the Chang'an Auto of Wan Jingtung, and heads up towards the Melco hairpin. Wide entry, turn the car, there's the arc, clear run through Melco. Will set yourself up for a good run towards the end of the lap.
Now we've got a minute just under on the clock, so Chelio Alves Dias is going to start what I would offer you as the last lap here, because the clock will go against him if the plan is to go to time, and he will start the last lap of the race then with an advantage over Sabino Osorio Matthias Ley, which is going up all the time because Chelio Alves Dias has done the best lap of the race at 2:42.1. He's now 11.6 seconds to the good with 30 seconds of the 20 minutes left on the clock now.
We've not had indication on the timing screen that they are running to time rather than laps.
No.
So we will wait and see. We'll, I think, call it when we see the checkered flag, because potentially it could be either way. It could be the conclusion of 20 minutes or it could be the conclusion of the planned 8 laps of the race, because at the moment we have the top 3 with a goodly gap between all 3 of them, with Chelio Alves Dias leading the race, also with the fastest lap of the race as well, 2:42.182. Second place, some 11.5 seconds behind at the conclusion of lap number 6, Sabino Osorio Matthias Ley, car number 5, the Ford Fiesta. And then a further gap before we have the number 7 car, that's the race leader, Liu Manfai. A further gap down in car number 7 in 3rd place. So the all-white car, which I think it's fair to say has thus far over the course of the weekend for the Melco Macau Touring Car Cup been a dominant force in the all-white Mini. It looks quick, and it is quick. It's got the fastest lap of the race, 2:42.182, turns into Police, up towards Moorish, and the second part of the lap for the race leader. No challenge from behind. It was an exceptional restart, wasn't it?
Absolutely right. It timed perfectly to jump away. And so there is Chelio Alves Diaz, who continues to dominate the smaller capacity touring car race from that pole position, and the gap 11.6 seconds, and he's building that margin all the time.
Heading down towards the completion of this lap through Black Sands Fisherman's and our bend, the final turn on the Macau circuit up towards the timing beam and the start-finish line here at Macau. Number 11, very, very impressive thus far for Chelio Alves Diaz, and across the line, breaks the timing beam and going on to lap number 8, gets the last lap board now. It is going to go to the full 8 laps. It's not going to be a timed 20-minute race. So that's the answer. Last lap board being displayed down on the start-finish line. One more lap. The advantage at the end of lap number 7, 12.9 seconds.
And he's not done yet either, is he? So this is potentially going to grow as the cars come through. So, yep, you say it is going to be the full 8 laps, and down towards Lisboa comes Chelio Alves Diaz, who must look in his mirrors and think, is anybody else still in the race? Because he has scarpered. Flash of flame then as he lifted and turned into Lisboa, turned through the corner. Nobody in sight. Look at that. He has just absolutely bossed this race.
And it's a reasonably difficult occupation when you're racing and you are controlling your own pace. There's nothing relative to see on circuit. It's also something that's really quite rare here around the streets of Macau, to gain an advantage like this. And that is full credit to our race leader.
Can I get excited again about Lam Hong Fai, please?
Please do.
Because she's now up into 4th place from 28th
wow.
on the grid. Drive of the race. We've not even seen her, I'm afraid, but it's been a mighty drive. And the Peugeot going great guns as the dominant Mini is about half a lap away from honours in the Melco Macau Touring Car Cup. And Chelio Alves Diaz has really proved how you dominate a race around Macau. Yes, he knows the circuit like the back of his hand, but this has been a really impressive display.
A textbook display, I think it's fair to say. The Mini has been absolutely perfect as far as we have seen over the course of the weekend so far, and continues to be so, turning out of one of the really quite tricky challenges of the Macau circuit at Moorish into Donna Maria. The long left-hander, the dominant number 11 Mini, heads down towards the Melco hairpin, and traffic is potentially going to be an issue before the checkered flag. But when you've got a cushion the like of which Chelio Alves Diaz has, if you catch a slower car, you can really work out the safest and easiest way to get past the number 37 Little Lotus.
Drama on the last lap, and that is the car that was 4th. Lam Hong Fai's Peugeot from 28th to 4th in the wall. So drama on the last lap of the race.
So disappointing. It was one of the headline stories of this race, wasn't it? And it would have been, up to that point, a super race. Well, it has been a super race for number 11. Chelio Alves Diaz in the white Mini, the dominant white Mini, takes the checkered flag and wins the Melco Macau Touring Car Cup. We have to wait a while for the Fiesta in second place, the number 5 car of Sabino Osorio, Matthias Ley, to come across the line and take the checkered flag. So the top 2 podium positions. I'm still reeling from disappointment about the little Peugeot.
Yeah, huge disappointment as up towards the checkered flag now comes number 7 Mini then. So Loman Fai will take 3rd. In 4th place, getting back to 3rd place, it's going to be the car of Wan Jun Sun, and just taking 5th was Lam Kar Chun, Kevin Lam, because right with him at the end was Lam Kam San, number 22, Lam Kam San with the Ford Fiesta, taking 6th place. But Chelio Alves Diaz, very dominant indeed. And there is the sorry sight on the last lap of a broken Peugeot.
A really sorry sight. That had been a quite superb race, hasn't it? And the reason I was chuckling and I stopped chuckling when I saw that car, because that's not something to chuckle about. I was chuckling because Chelio Alves Dias, having taken the checkered flag, is still, on occasions, weaving the car to keep heat in the tyres. Doesn't really need to now.
No, I was looking at that thinking, was he weaving more to try and get pickup, just to make sure that the car was going to be good for ride height and weight at the end for the technical checks? But he's a very happy man, come what may, isn't he? Because that really was a hugely impressive drive.
My mind doesn't work in that way, but you're probably quite right. Yeah, bit of pickup. It's an important part of the slowdown lap. It's been a great weekend for Chelio Alves Dias. And on the slowdown lap, we'll see the car arrive in Parc Fermé, have a fair wait before he'll be joined by Sabino Osorio, Matthias Ley and Loman Fai down in Parc Fermé, and celebrating with a flash of the lights to the marshals around the circuit. This one of the areas where it would only be marshals that the driver can communicate with. Some areas of the circuit lend themselves to having grandstands, and some do not.
Although the blocks of flats that loom over the circuit,
that's a good point.
Good view.
Yeah.
Yes. If you're not out at work, but there is the winning car, and a few hard luck stories in that, which is going to give us again lots to look for in tomorrow's longer race. With, again, Cam Fai coming up from the back of the grid. Lam Hong Fai coming up from the back of the grid after the accident. Also, Mini number 96 in the end of Chan Kin Sang. Did that get to the end? It did, but only 18th with problems. And we touched on Rui Vallon anyway. So that, likewise, is going to be a car in a hurry tomorrow. So I think although Chelio Alves Dias will be hard to stop in the race, there'll be a lot going on behind him tomorrow.
Well, they certainly will, and it's just great that we've had such a good entry this year. That previously we would have had two classes in the touring car race. We would have had a 2-litre class and a 1600 class. So many have we got that have entered this year. We've got two races, one for the 1600cc cars, and the opening race of the day. Got things underway this morning, the Win Macau Challenge Cup for the 2-litre and above cars. Predominantly Mitsubishis. I think we can say mainly Minis, certainly not predominantly Minis in the Melco Macau Touring Car Cup, but certainly a Mini being the dominant car over the course of 2 days so far at Macau in 2021. That's your race winner, making slow entry to Parc Fermé.
This is the first time you've seen anybody really since the safety car restart.
You were all still racing, weren't you? Oh, right. Oh, here you are.
What kept you? But that was a mighty display, and very, very good drive indeed from Chelio Alves Dias, who arrives now in the Parc Fermé area. Scrutineers await, and in he comes.
You hear the delight of the teams, can't you?
Yeah.
It means so much to take victory at Macau, to be on the podium at Macau, and the door open for Chelio Alves Dias, and down comes the netting. Be very, very pleased with the work so far this weekend, and away for the camera, number one for Chelio Alves Dias. Back on the stalk goes the steering wheel. Rest of the field making their way into Parc Fermé. A podium will follow after the celebrations down in and a pat from Sabino Osorio, Matthias Ley for the very, very quick Ford Fiesta. Congratulations for the winner as well, come from Sabino. It's been quick all weekend, that car.
It has. And there is the next of the Minis as Loman Fai clambers very happily out of his car. Really chuffed with the podium result. So there are the three for the podium.
And a lovely group hug as
Yeah,
well.
exactly. Even before helmets come off, they're embracing one another.
That's
Great
superb.
to see. Yeah. So 49-year-old Chelio Dias, the race winner. And Sabino Lay taking second spot in the Fiesta.
They'll be making their way over to the podium in due course, and I think they're asking the question, do you want to weigh us? That will come in due course. Confirmation of the result. A win for the number 11 car. Chelio Alves Diaz in the Cooper S takes the win from the Ford Fiesta of Sabino Osorio Matthias Lay. The distance behind in second place, 13.5 seconds, and then Loman Fai in car number 7 in the third position and completing the podium some way back. 29 cars in total took the start of the Melco Macau Touring Car Cup, and very impressive they were too. One intervention required for the safety car. Only now does Sabino take off the helmets and the balaclava as well, and gets ready for the podium. They will be taken to the podium very speedily, and it's always a difficult job when you are leading drivers to a podium. You think they're all following you, you've told them where we're going, and then you look behind and they've stopped for a photograph, they've stopped for a chat with the team, and you really do have to keep an eye behind you when you're leading drivers.
Especially when there's a TV crew ready to interrupt proceedings as well. So very happy Chelio Alves Diaz tells his story in Portuguese. And the way that he's gone does suggest that he will be very, very hard to stop again tomorrow. But we have got one more race to look forward to shortly, which is our first helping of GT cars of the day. The GT4 race will be next. Then we go back to warm-up sessions, 3 short, sharp warm-ups, and then 3 more races to keep us busy for the day. So 6 races each day. They're the drivers making their way now to the podium. And
everyone wants a word, don't they?
Yes. What's Chelio Alves Diaz want now? He wants his flag or a towel.
A flag or a towel.
Or his phone. Yes.
It will take a while to get them all to the podium, and we are already with great efficiency getting ready for our GT race, the MGM Greater Bay Area GT Cup. Already the grid boards in place. Great efficiency.
Indeed so, and a very different type of car that we're going to enjoy next. We were talking about in the warm-up this morning how open a race that promised to be. But first, let's complete proceedings for the Melco Macau Touring Car Cup, because the dignitaries are ready. Drivers step forward, and in a moment we will have the circuit announcements made to get the podium underway. Melco Resorts and Entertainment, another prolific sponsor of the event, and excellent support coming from local businesses once more for the Macau Grand Prix. So I think we're
close.
Yeah,
can see drivers.
Indeed, and through the other doors will come the presenters, and the doors open, ready to release, as it were, people onto the podium from either end. And as soon as the indication is given, out people will come. So through the back of the Grand Prix building, up the steps of the podium, the drivers for this Melco Resorts and Entertainment backed race. So the podium is dressed, podium is ready, drivers are in the background, trophies are there. So in a moment, out
Ladies and gentlemen, our second trophy presentation today. At the podium for Melco Macau Touring Car Cup, and the winning drivers are number 7, Loi Man Fai.
So there for third place is Loi Man Fai, who steps forward.
Sabino Lay.
Sabino Lay takes second place, the Ford Fiesta driver. And then
our winner,
a race winner, and a dominant race winner is Chelio Alves Diaz.
Congratulations. And now may I invite Mr. Raymond Law.
It is Raymond Lowe, the Senior Vice President,
Property General Manager
of Altera Macau and Mocha Clubs,
Melco
Melco Resorts and Entertainment, who there
to
is going to present for
Loiman
the
Fai.
third placed driver
Congratulations,
to
first of
Loiman
all.
Fai, I should
And the
say.
trophy.
There's the smaller trophy for the third place driver.
And
For
now may
second,
I
it
invite
is
Mr.
Kevin
Richard
Benning, the Senior Vice
Senior
President, Property General Manager, Studio City, Melco Resorts and Entertainment,
to
who,
present the trophy to
duly
our
branded.
second-place
It
driver,
is Melco
Sabino
Clothing,
Lay.
steps forward to give Sabino Lay the trophy and the garland for
Congratulations.
second place.
And now may I have the
But it
honor
is
to
Dr.
invite
Kent Wong,
Dr.
the Chief
Ken
Advisor
Wong,
of
Chief
Melco
Advisor
Resorts and
Melco Resorts
Entertainment,
and Entertainment,
who
to
is going
present
to present
the trophy to our
to the
winner-
race
to our
winner, to
winner,
Chelio Alves
Chelio
Diaz, who
Alves
has
Diaz.
had a great drive and a great start to his day here at the Gia Circuit. Chelio Alves Diaz wins the Melco Macau Touring Car Cup.
Congratulations. Let's all get closest to the middle for a group photo.
Photographs then taken. Everybody smiles under the
Trophies in the
masks.
air.
Everybody poses for the cameras. And Loman Fai for third, Sabino Lay
to all
second,
winning
Chelio
drivers.
Alves Diaz, the winner of the
And also
Melco
thank you to our
Macau
presenters.
Touring Car Cup.
A few more photographs to come, I think, on their respective steps of the podium. We'll have a chance to look back at the highlights of our second race of the day.
Photos for the winners
And a winner's photo,
on the podium.
and you can see the joy,
Yeah.
certainly in the eyes of Sabino Lay on the podium, and opportunity to enjoy every moment. Our winner, and a dominant winner as well, Chelio Diaz on the top step of the podium, all three of them on their respective steps. And now the word
Thank you. Congratulations again.
to leave the podium, and I hope in a moment we'll get the opportunity of looking back at some of those highlights of race 2 on our timetable today for the Melco Macau Touring Car Cup. As down here on the grid already, we're getting ready for our next race of the morning, our final race of the morning segment of the day. The day distinctly separated into two halves, and this the second race of the morning, the Melco Macau Touring Car Cup. Here we go for the third race of the day, and all the colour, all the entertainment of the grid and the build-up for the MGM Greater Bay Area GT Cup. Predominantly GT4 cars that we're about to see. Ginettas, BMW, Lotus, McLaren, Audi, Mercedes, all lining up on the grid for what promises to be a thrilling encounter for the MGM Greater Bay Area GT Cup. I'll take you through the cars in a couple of moments, but as you can see, it's a very busy grid. And if you think this is busy, you wait until we see Formula 4 cars on the grid a little bit later. Of course, the Macau Grand Prix racing over 8 laps here today. The Formula 4 cars later on this afternoon. GT3 cars as well. But for now, we focus on the GT4 cars. And that is the car that has pole position. It's a BMW. And Chang Chen Shang in car number 88 was extremely impressive in qualifying yesterday. Impressive enough to take pole position away from the car that we rather fancied after practice in the morning would be on pole, and that's the car of Chris Char in car 36, the MGM backed Mercedes on the outside of the front row of the grid. I wondered if he wasn't going to see the camera there, the camera crew, as they make their way down through the grid. Car 79 is next, and that's the car of Moxie Nock in the Z Challenger Racing Mercedes. And that was pretty spectacular to watch around the circuit here at Macau yesterday. And the 34 car alongside, and that's the car of Cheng Zun Cheng. Toro Racing BMW M4 GT4 car. Love this overhead picture as well, because you get a good overview of the grid and the liveries, which are plentiful and always impressive as well. Number 11 is Nicholas Lai in the Song Ven Racing Team BMW M4. And are we going to get a look inside? No, because we go to number 99, Evan Mack in the Toro Racing BMW. So the BMWs featuring well during qualifying. A wave for the camera and the supporters at home. But BMWs did go very well yesterday, didn't they?
They did, and they're well suited to the circuit, it seems, because they've got the grunt, they've also got the nimbleness around the corners. As you look at 21, which is Lowman Kit's Ginetta G55, one of the few drivers to wear an open-face helmet these days. But the Ginetta, right-hand drive car, the Leeds-built car, is lined up ready to go, and there with the eyes on the front of it, keeping the glare off the screen for the Mercedes driven by Kirsty Zhu, or Zhu Zheyao to give her Chinese name, but Kirsty Zhu, as she has westernised it, went really well in qualifying to be 8th on the grid. 9th is the Audi of Tun Chi, the Champ Motorsport Audi R8 LMS. These all GT4 spec cars in the main. We've got 1 or 2 GTC category cars, but GT4 the bulk. And they're another of the Ginettas, Dickie Chung with his RPM Racing Team G55.
Which we were very pleased went faultlessly during the 15-minute warm-up this morning, because the car was not without problems on circuit yesterday. But now we get the proper thumbs up from number 1, from Dickie Chung. And that's good news to see, because the car is spectacular in its presentation, isn't it? Number 7 is Lau Kim Ho in the RPM Racing Team Ginetta G55, and that's the number 7 car, the number 7 car of Lau Kim Ho in the Ginetta, alongside the number 10 car of To Lat Pang in the Lotus Exige. Quite a collection of different makes and models of GT cars for this, the third race of the day. 55 is the car of Kenny Chong in the K2C Motorsports Ginetta G55, and you can see when the drivers are getting ready for the race and the camera crew come down just how important this is to be on the grid and to get your excitement over to the fans that are watching around the world. They know fans are watching around the world. Leon King On in the Lotus Exige is next on the grid, and now the tyre trolleys taken away from the grid. Final few personnel are cleared from the grid as well. 25 is Poon Wang Hong in the Parkview Motor Lotus Exige V6.
who's a little more nervous. He's less
little sideways
prepared
look.
to wave and smile. They're a long way back on the grid is Leung Yang Wang, or Kelvin Leung, who is normally a pace setter. Now, we've seen him win in the Road Sport Challenge in the past here, but adapting to GT4 machinery, the Sonvang Racing team